Our modern world wouldn't be possible if it weren't for state-of-the-art facilities like this, where they're ushering in a new chapter in the space age. Now, relatively new to the global space race, Turkey is investing billions of dollars to make up for lost time. Its sixth-generation satellite, built by Turkish Aerospace Industries for Turksat, a satellite communications company, is going to help make that happen. One of the core battlegrounds of the Cold War was the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. It all began with the launch of Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite, on October 4th, 1954. This event triggered a sense of urgency in the United States, leading to the establishment of NASA and eventually the landing of the Apollo 11 mission on the moon in 1969. The second space age was ushered shortly after the turn of the century, this time driven more by businesses than geopolitical rivalries. Companies like SpaceX, Amazon, and Virgin entered the industry with ambitious plans to reduce costs and revolutionize technology. The genesis of the Turksat program started in the late 1960s, but really came to life in 1994 with Turkey's first successful launch of the Turksat 1B. Today, there are currently 5 active Turksat satellites. The 3A lifted off from the Guyana Space Center back in June of 2008 and has a scheduled lifespan of 20 years. Its coverage extends from Europe, Central Asia, to the borders of China. In 2014, Turkey would launch its next generation of broadcast satellites, the Turksat 4A, from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, helping to drastically cut internet costs. 2021 would be a busy year for the Turksat program after the launch of 2 fifth-generation satellites. Turksat 5A and B are equipped with the latest guidance and antenna systems. Both were launched on board SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket in Cape Canaveral, Florida. My journey into the Turkish Space Systems Test Center begins with me walking into a positive pressure changing room. I first need to put on a lab coat, which will act as the first line of defense against me bringing in any potential contaminants into an area that is supposed to be 100 times cleaner than any hospital surgery room. And it doesn't matter how follically challenged you are, a head cover is also required. And my final piece of protection will be over my shoes. But while I may have put on all the necessary attire, there's still one procedure I will need to do, pressing my hands against the anti-static plate to ensure that I dissipate any electrical energy into the floor and thus prevent static discharge or even shock. And then through a second set of doors, I walk into the main testing area. This is where 400 engineers and nearly 1,000 support staff have called home for the past 8 years. They have one objective: to build Turkey's first 100% indigenously made communication satellite. But this is a lengthy and arduous task, and you just can't build one. Multiple versions are built, each prototype with a specific objective. And this is the first one. And it's sitting on a vibration testing platform. The holes on the 50-meter roof blow out compressed nitrogen, and the sound reaches 150 decibels. That's easily enough to blow out an eardrum. All this to simulate the conditions the satellite will face during the launch phase of the mission. Now, this chamber is where all the magic happens. It is literally the closest thing to space that you can get here on Earth. It simulates the extreme temperatures that happen 30,000 kilometers up in orbit, where temperature differences between even a shadow and light could be up to 300 degrees Celsius. Added to that is the extreme vacuum of space. So how do they make it happen? Well, with very powerful air pumps. And why all the hassle? Well, if you're going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars, you better make sure that your satellite is going to survive the hell that space is. I had a chance to speak to Adem Kahraman, the test center's manager, about the last 8 years and where the satellite program was going. In less than a year, the Türksat 6A will be hovering 36,000 kilometers above me, both receiving and transmitting vital communication and information for hundreds of millions of people. Satellites have become the eyes and ears of our modern lives, from commercial uses to crucial military applications. These hovering bus-sized communications tools will make the future possible, and if everything goes to plan, the Türksat 6A will be hitching a ride on a SpaceX rocket sometime next year. I'm Ali Can Ayanlar, and I'll see you next time here on Next Tech.